Good morning. Welcome to Tip Off. Happy All-Star break to you. That was a tough one last night. Uh, Here's the plan for some All-Star break coverage podcast this afternoon with Jeff Hornacek, which we recorded prior to that game. Kevin O'Connor and I are scheduled to talk on Friday. Hometown Heroes will probably come to you on Monday, though Kevin Pelton and I are scheduled to talk also on Mythbusters. So I've given you a lot of stuff. We'll talk about the game and all of that. Remember, there's an app called Stitcher. You can get the show on Stitcher. So if you download that app, then the podcasts come directly to your phone. It's really a pretty cool little deal. If you're on an iPhone, I'm sure you're probably doing that with iTunes, but I think you can get Stitcher on the iPhone also. It's really pretty sweet. After the All-Star break, Jazz play Houston on Wednesday, Miami on Friday before embarking on what will be one of many brutal road trips in March. Tickets are available. The Houston game is coupled with seeing Minnesota and seeing Sacramento, which gets you three of the better games for the rest of the year. I think the Miami game had a package to it too. Originally, it was Washington and Detroit, so I don't know what they have now, but maybe just come see LeBron. So those tickets are available. 801-325-2999. Before, I've got to share one story. Somebody out there. I apologize. I'll offend you with this. Before we get into the game. So last night I went to the bathroom at halftime, Minnesota Target Center. It's actually, in our broadcast site's actually semi-convenient for that, which is nice. And first thing, there's really nothing that makes you feel closer to an animal than the troughs in men's rooms in stadiums. There's really nothing. But then I was washing my hands and I'm walking out, and the guy in front of me has elastic belted jeans on. Do you remember those? And maybe they're still out there, but I don't. Um, does everybody remember those? They're kind of like, remember the Saturday Night Live skit Mom Jeans? But they're the ones that have the elastic that goes around. Like somebody decided this would be all right, that they have the elastic around the waist, but then they do some kind of ruffling on that elastic to make it kind of look different because you don't need a belt anymore because now you got the elastic. I hadn't seen those in ages, and I really kind of vibe that those are a Midwest thing. Maybe they're around still. I don't know. I don't see your Carhartts coming out and with elastic uh, jeans. Yeah, elastic belted jeans. I saw that. I was just busted. I don't know why that busted me up last night, but I just wanted to share that. Like, oh man, this is cool. I won't have to wear a belt. Like, when did the belt become such a problem that you have to suddenly decide to wear elastic jeans? Um, all right, so let's go to last night's game. You know, if you go back to our the New Orleans game, one of the things that everybody said was, I don't care if we win or lose. I just want effort. Got it. You really did. And maybe in some ways, what's the hardest part about last night's performance is how good they were. I mean, that's a bad loss. I mean, that's a colossal collapse in the fourth quarter last night. And particularly on the defensive end. I mean, just a complete and utter meltdown on the defensive end. I think I had on Empty the Noggin that the Timberwolves scored on 17 of their final 20 times they crossed half court. Because we didn't defense a rebound. Pekovic is a beast. And it wasn't only Pekovic, though. It was Barea, it was everybody else. And it's not just Millsap and Jefferson. It's that whole unit. Howard did a nice job rebounding early. Howard, Harris, and Jefferson are the only ones who have defensive rebounds in the final 9 minutes of the game last night. Hayward's got to be a better rebounder. Millsap, 0 rebounds in that stretch is pretty inexcusable. But he's dealing with Kevin Love. And I think that's the crusher. If you really get into last night, is those guys played hard and they played well, and they were in tuned all night. I mean, other in the first half they were virtually perfect, other than one or two quick shots that let the Wolves have runouts. But they I don't know any other way to say it, but they weren't good enough. They played, I thought, generally last night as well as they could, as hard as they could. Got some good play from Josh Howard. Paul Millsap generally got the best of Kevin Love for most of the evening. And they lost to a 500 team on the road when they played about as well as they could. To me, that's the killer, and that's where, as we hit the break, there's a lot of really, really difficult decisions to be made, and I don't think they're going to make them anywhere in regards to what the active fan base, and I only say active because I don't know what everybody thinks, I think wants them to do. I mean, there's a legitimate argument right now that says, all right, you've run Millsap and Jefferson out as a tandem for the last year and a half, and post them having a superstar in Darren Williams, they're simply not a good enough tandem to be dog one and dog two and for you to win a lot of your basketball games. And I think that argument's got some real validity to it. So that's an unfortunate reality. But, I don't think Al's a number one dog, and I don't think Millsap's a number two dog. So as hard as they play, and as much as they're doing, and as much as they put out there, that might be the stark reality. And you look at just the Memphis game, they played great. So then you're like, okay, well, they can do it. And then they can't close the Spurs game, which isn't surprising. They can't close the Dallas game earlier this year, which isn't surprising. And last night they should have been able to close that game. So then, I think there's the argument, what I heard a lot from people, which is, well, if they're not good enough, then you got to play the young guys. And I do think that there's a happy median in here somewhere. Last night wasn't it. There's no question that Ty went for it last night. Ty said, hey, we got All-Star break. My best chance to win is to roll these guys out there, and he went for it. And Ty's job is to win games. And Ty's job is to win games and to keep his job and to win games and gain confidence and in the players and to win games. And it's legitimately a good argument on his end that to put Jefferson and Millsap on the floor together for the final 9 minutes gives the team the best chance to win. It's hard to refute that. Right? I mean, if you really want to, that's what this gets down to. Is that he believes that putting Millsap and Jefferson in that game last night gave him the best chance to win. And Devin for Earl makes complete sense. Earl's struggling. Devin played really well. Has played really well for actually 4 or 5 games. And what to me is stark today is that best chance to win, playing as well as they could in Minnesota last night, they couldn't get it done. And that one just hurts when you're up by that and lose, and so you overreact. But to me, it's more of a trend of a week or two. So the next question is, do you just I just want the young guys to play because actually what's changed now is originally what the vocal fan base and I only say that just because I think you have to be very careful that I love the Twitter world and I love the social networking world and I'm interacting with you guys, but really at this point I'm interacting with a really small percentage of our fan base. Active, passionate, wonderful, but small. So it's not fair for us to classify ourselves completely as the fan base. Um, so our original answer was, well, we just want them to play hard and we don't care. Now our answer is, well, we just want to play the young guys and play hard. There's some legitimacy to that, and there's probably some level where last night was unique that we ran out those guys and Cantor played 8 minutes and Favors played 12. Both of them have been very poor on the road. Both Cantor and Favors have been very poor on the road and weren't really showing signs last night that they were going to be any better on the road. Now, I don't think you can evaluate NBA players that are getting 8 to 9 minutes. I think it's hard. That goes for rookies, that goes for pros. There's just no way for them to maximize uh, who they are. Uh, I don't entirely believe all of what I just said. I think you can see where someone's trending in those 8 or 9 minutes, but I also think that you have to. It's just you're asking where. Like I asked Favors the other night to impact the game. Burks is beginning to do that in 8 and 9. Now his minutes are extending. It's very hard for Favors to do that. So I don't know what the next step is here. My concern right now is that Ty's got to find ways to win. Josh Howard starting was the conversation today, and we're going to end up starting Devin Harris, Raja Bell, Josh Howard, Paul Millsap, and Al Jefferson. And then you end up with Earl Watson and the youngsters in the second unit. And I don't know if that's the way for those guys to succeed, to have all four of them on the floor. Maybe just divide the team flat out like that. Fine, here are the vets, and here's that. But I think there's no – I think if this team – I don't know. Millsap and Jefferson have been the best two bigs on the floor when I did all the big combos this year. So to put them back out on the floor is legitimate. Now, their complete inability to defend and defensive rebound means they're not very good. I don't know. I guess I'm worried that we are just equating points as being good. And that doesn't work that way. But when they have nights like last night, the two of them on the floor together, they allowed 17 offensive rebounds. It's just crazy. In the time they're on the floor, and big guys aren't everything, but they're a lot of it. They allowed them what to score, I say, on 17 and 20 possessions. Those are killers. Just killers. So that's a hard one. I mean, it's just a hard one. They missed some shots. Millsap not screening out Derek Williams late. To me, it was a key play of the night. They just, there's those other mistakes. I mean, the San Antonio game, I did the Richard Jefferson play. I mean, Millsap jumps up the wrong side on that pick and roll and allows Parker to go, and it costs you, costs you the game. All right, let me go to some tip-off questions. They're all the same today. I mean, I read them right beforehand. They're all the same to some extent. C Sublime, and they're all, and to my point of the vocal minority, they're all the same loyal guys, and I appreciate it. What's happened with Hayward? He doesn't see the ball very much, so that's part of it. But he is not inserting himself in the game. But when we go into the post to Al or Paul, even when they do pass, it's very rare. The last time I remember getting a three out of it was the Raja three with 1 second on the shot clock. I mean, it's very, very rare that we're actually getting anything out of those plays when we go in the post and then when they kick it out, which is part of the difficulty here. So Burks or Hayward is been inconsistent because his game is to play off other players, and then if Howard's going to start for him, he's going to get less and less minutes. He's going to become less and less influential. I mean, he'll really disappear if he doesn't start and just get his time on the floor. He's going to really disappear. Should Burks finish games? Maybe. I think he's playing great. I thought Alec was great last night. If Howard starts, who loses the minutes? I mean, the question on how do you stop fourth quarter meltdowns is, maybe maybe I, maybe that's who we are. I mean, maybe that's the reality that that's what's stark to me about last night, I guess. I thought the guys played really well. And so then the question has to be like simply are they capable of winning games at a high enough level? And then I think the next question that has to be asked, if that answer is no, to some extent, how much better are they really than Favors and Cantor? And the answer is they are better right now. But how much better? Josh Howard is better than Alec Burks right now, but how much better? Josh Howard is probably better than Gordon Hayward right now, but really, how much better? So it's hard, very very hard, rock in a hard place for the franchise heading into All-Star break, and I'll leave it at that. That is tip off.